today's class is the Knowledge Brute, and we have got the X-Men's own Dr. McCoy, or Beast, as the Knowledge Brute character. I picked Beast for this video because they've been teasing his character in several Marvel projects, so we are looking forward to that in upcoming Marvel movies, and so we are going to be, so we invite you to get excited with us. And so the Knowledge Brutes has impact and neuronics. Impact being how much damage they can inflict, and we know that Dr. McCoy, or Beast, is quite muscular. And then neuronics, obviously, is intelligence, your ability to learn, your ability to memorize, your ability to use your mind in those kind of situations. And that is also a good attribute for Beast in that case. The skill for Knowledge Brute is called Use Your Head, and it reads, this character can use their neuronics level instead of their impact level when using impact abilities. So even though they can use their strength, they could also use their mind to do the same kind of checks for the impact checks. So today we are looking at the Library Guardian, and we have chosen the MCU's own Wong as the character that'll match our Library Guardian. So the Library Guardian's skills include neuronics and toughness. Now, Wong was an actual librarian in the first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Doctor Strange. He has memorized tons of spells and read all the books and all the scrolls. He's got all that knowledge. And then toughness is the other one. And he was actually in an underground fight club with the Abomination, and he has proven lots of times that he can take a hit. And toughness, remember, is the ability to absorb damage. So neuronics and toughness both fit Wong really well. You've got the special ability for the Library Guardian is called Knowledge is Power, and it reads, if a spell damages this character, the character can write it down and receive a scroll with the spell at the end of the battle, if they are conscious at that time. Cannot use this ability again until full rest. If multiple spells damage this character, they receive a scroll for the most recent one. So this is a unique ability among the classes, and I really think it matches the spellcasters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially a librarian like Wong. We are looking at the Linguist class, and for our character, we have got from the movie The Terminal, Victor Navorsky, played by Tom Hanks. And this is one of the most phenomenal demonstrations of a language learner in this case, an airport setting. But I encourage you very highly to see that movie. It's a incredible take on the human condition and learning languages, and it's got a heartwarming plot as well. The skills for a linguist in Fists and Minds is influence and neuronics. And influence here being Victor's ability to convince and win over people in all the different scenarios. He stays out of trouble several times. He rallies people to his side and his practices. And then as far as the neuronics goes, he is learning English in the airport from an English dictionary as he goes, and it's pretty comical getting to see him in his different linguistic shenanigans that happen. So I don't want to spoil the movie, obviously, but do encourage you to check it out. The special ability of the linguist is called polyglottery, and it reads, this character can intuitively communicate with another character that does not share any common languages. Cannot use this ability again until full rest, and the understanding of that other language goes away upon resting. So this is great in campaigns if you have a lot of travel or a lot of exploring, or you have any kind of magic that interferes with language and communication. The Linguist is going to be really helpful in that scenario. So today we're talking about the Microcontortionist, and for our character, we're going to go with Reed Richards from the Marvel Comics and Cinematic Universe. And he's stretchy. That's his superpower. And I know lately we have had quite a few from the Marvel heroes, but they're doing a lot of work on different projects that are current, and they have lots of releases coming out, but also they have big kind of brands separate from one another. So I don't believe we've done anyone from the Fantastic Four roster yet. So that's why we're doing Reed Richards. The flexibility and skill here are the two trademark abilities of the Microcontortionist. Flexibility, obviously the guy is made out of rubber, so that flexibility is not going to be an issue for Reed Richards. And then skill here is the ability to use fine motor skills. So with the stretchiness and the conformability to shapes that he has, that skill is also a technical skill for computers and technology, and he's been accused of being the greatest mind in Marvel at different points. So the special ability of a Microcontortionist in the Fist and Mind system is called Eye of the Needle, and it reads, this character can pass between adjacent enemies as long as the character ends in an open square. So normally, if you have two enemies next to each other, a player or a character would have to go around those two enemies to get to the other side. In this case, the Microcontortionist can go right between them, which completely tracks with Reed Richards' ability to make himself flat and pass between objects. So today we're checking out the Ninja Shadow, and for our character, we have got the PJ Masks character, Night Ninja. So Night Ninja has got notoriety for disappearing and using the smoke bombs. Those will come in a little bit later, but our two skills for the Ninja Shadow include flexibility and speed. The Night Ninja has had all kinds of impressive cartoon acrobatics during the show, so flexibility pretty apparent there, as well as the speed, taking on Catboy, one of the heroes that actually is a speedster. So he's got that ability to keep up with him as well. In the show, he is often depicted as going after different relics and powerful items to use against the heroes. But it is framed within the context of a kids show, and so a lot of times you have the villains changing their mind or changing their ways or getting better attitudes about their different actions and things, and so that's why we're fitting them in here as the Ninja Shadow, because as far as ninjas go in pop culture, there is a very small list that would be also considered good guys, so a little bit of a stretch that way. But as far as the special ability of a Ninja Shadow, you got the Smoke Bomb, and it reads, this character increases the difficulty of attacks for any creature within 5 squares by 1 level. This ability lasts until this point in the order on the next round and cannot be used again until a full rest. So this is a little bit complex as far as the when it goes and how long it lasts, but that is because often characters that are ninja shadows or ninjas or anything like that will have items or abilities that change their placement in the order, and so the smoke bomb addresses that by it lasts until that point in the order. Even if the ninja has changed places in the order, the smoke bomb will still go off at that point. We are going to be telling you about the portal bender today, and the character we have matched up with the portal bender is none other than Ned from the MCU, Spider-Man's own guy in the chair, and he also develops the ability to summon portals like Doctor Strange does. So Ned is our character. The portal bender gets divinity and flexibility. Now in the MCU, the magic itself is sort of a cosmic power or a source of power. So that's where the divinity is going to be at. And then the flexibility is the actual physical motions it takes to do the spells and the portals and use the sling ring. And so Ned demonstrates that as a natural capability as well. And then the ability of the portal bender is called mirrored communication. And it reads, this character can enchant a mirror to open communication with other planes of existence. The number of enchanted mirrors that can exist is equal to the character's level. Communication to the other plane will occur from a random reflective surface unless there is a similarly enchanted mirror in that plane. So, definitely with the mirrors being a parallel to the portals for travel in the MCU, that lines up pretty well with how he trapped or let Doctor Strange out after Spider-Man trapped him in the mirror universe. That you had that connection with the sling ring and the mirror universe for the mirrored communication there. Looking at the priest class today, and the character we have chosen for that class is going to be John Constantine. So, battler of demons and protector of the supernatural. That fits right in with our two skills. The first skill being divinity, connection to the world of demons and angels and the ability to manipulate it. And then the second one being magic, which is kind of the same, but with not the connection to the cosmic supernatural. And you have that both as well in John Constantine, because as well as fighting demons and other divine creatures, he also is a master of sleight of hand and table magic and all of those cup and ball game type magic as well. So you've got both of those here drawing on power, and then the magic as well being John Constantine's ability to sort of grab the artifact out of his mind or memory, which thing is needed for which power level and which incantations and all of those things are the magic pairing with the divinity very well. The ability here of the priest is called Bury the Dead, and it reads, this character's weapons and spells do double damage against creatures with the undead keyword. So a little bit different. John Constantine doesn't spend as much time combating the dead as he does demons and other contract divine beings, but the doing double damage against those types of creatures would make a lot of sense. He uses a lot of fire or dragon's breath. He uses a lot of these banishment things that would probably apply to the undead as well as the demons. So today we're talking about the puzzler, and the character we have assigned the puzzler is Danny Ocean from Ocean's 11 and the Ocean films. And the two skills of a puzzler, they get neuronics and skill. Neuronics being the ability to plan out. There is definitely strategy would be applicable here, but in this case it's the study and the learning of the security systems and the psychology of interacting with people and the grift and all of that. And then you have the actual physical skill, the fine motor skills needed to safe crack and sleight of hand and do all the the card manipulation and the pickpocketing and all that stuff. Really a good fit for Danny Ocean there. The ability of the puzzler is called Riddle Me This, and the character has 1 level reduced difficulty with regards to puzzles and riddles. And so this, I think, fits Danny Ocean really well, because you have anything where it's a complex system or a blueprint for a very intricate plan. Those things are going to take puzzling out and solving those riddles, and creative problem solving. All of that stuff is going to be built right into there. So I think that fits Danny Ocean as well. We're talking about the Reflex Wizard, and our chosen character is none other than Harry Potter for this one. So Reflex Wizard, the 2 skills being magic and speed. Magic here, kind of obvious, but nevertheless, a wizard already by title. Harry Potter is going to have access to that magic. And in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, magic is a little more accessible by text and study than natural, innate, magical gift, but not completely. So among the wizards, there are also naturals at it, Harry Potter being one of the most natural. And then you have the speed aspect, which is your traveling ability, your ability to run, but it's also your ability to use vehicles and your ability to think on your feet and react quickly. You're having good reflexes for being a reflex wizard. And there are lots of times where Harry Potter has to rely on his reflexes or be the faster casting duelist or any number of things like that. So speed here, pretty applicable as well. The special ability of a Reflex Wizard is going to be called Trigger Sparkle, and it reads, anytime this character is dealt damage, they can react and use one of their actions to cast a spell immediately. This caster has already spent their actions for this round. There is no triggered effect. So this is unique among the Fists and Minds classes in that it is an ability that can be caused to use an action outside of your turn. So it's a pretty powerful thing, a pretty awesome ability for Reflex Wizard, and also something that very definitely happens in the Harry Potter universe with countering and deflecting spells and any number of that kind of out of turn kind of reaction casting. So the class today is the Ritual Dancer, and our character du jour for the Ritual Dancer is going to be Giselle from Enchanted. So a Ritual Dancer has flexibility and neuronics, and flexibility can mean both a gymnast sort of flexibility, but in this case it's also having to do with armor class, and Giselle carries with her a lot of the cartoon physics from Andalasia there. So the flexibility here is the like avoiding dangers and not taking damage when you fall and all that kind of again cartoon damage control. And then on the neuronics, this is in Giselle's case the completely having to relearn the world and how the world works, and memorizing just a ton of new actions and ways to interact with people, and also kind of growing and progressing in the cognitive, keeping track of a broader scope of how the world works in that case. The special ability of the Ritual Dancer is called Flash Mob, and it reads, uses an action until this character's next turn. Any ally within 10 squares can choose to spend their actions to inspire or distract using this character's influence levels. So Flash Mob, obviously for a Disney princess or a princess modeled after a Disney princess, calling animal allies and getting people to, coordinate bicycles in the park and all the different flash mobs that happen in Enchanted. That essentially that extra role, either to do better or worse, using this character's influence or their charisma, allows that to sort of coordinate the group like a flash mob. So our class today is the Room Reader, and the character is Hercule Poirot, and I'm going to be probably murdering that name every time I say it, but luckily with a character like Poirot, then that needn't go unsolved. I'll admit that of the characters in this series, Hercule Poirot is one of the least familiar to me, but we're going to apply the Room Reader to him as best we can. So first up, Room Reader enjoys influence and speed, and for influence we have the inevitable presentation of the mysteries being solved for all of the different cases and films and stories that were created around Hercule. Then also we have speed, and in the case of solving a murder or solving a crime, a lot of times evidence will disappear over time, sometimes very quickly, and the need for gathering that evidence with speed and responding to it with speed is paramount to anyone who is doing investigative work. So the Room Reader's special ability is called First Impressions, and it reads, can tell the connection between two individuals, whether they regard one another as ally, neutral, or enemy. Cannot use this ability again until a full rest. So this means the player can use this if they believe someone is acting suspicious, or if things aren't adding up, or they need to know which path to choose. They can compare individuals and discern if they have any kind of connection. Now, if they don't have a connection, then this ability would be lost, but hopefully even that would move information towards solving whatever the question was. We have got the Rune Fighter today, and the character we've chosen is Kida from the Disney film Atlantis. So the Rune Fighter gets impact and magic, and we have first the impact, damage dealing capability. When the Atlantean gear is activated, it's very powerful, deals a lot of damage, and she has command of that with the next stat, which is magic. In the movie, the magic comes in the form of the power crystals that are created using the main crystal at the center of their existence in Atlantis. And Kida actually joins with it and becomes imbued with that magical energy for a time. The special ability of the Rune Fighter is called Imbue Weapon, and it reads, can replace the damage keyword of a weapon with a magic keyword. Cannot use this ability again until a full rest. So what this means is on a regular weapon, it's going to have slicing or bludgeoning, piercing. It's going to have one of these physical damage types, and with the Imbue Weapon ability, you can change that to fire or radiant or lightning, those magical keywords. And today we're looking at the Sacred Scribe, and the character we've chosen to represent that class is Monk from Bulletproof Monk, or The Monk. There's some debate there, but he gave up his name, so they call him Monk. The abilities of the Sacred Scribe are Divinity and Neuronics. Divinity here being the connection and longevity attached to the Sacred Scroll, and the supernatural power, extranatural power needed to defend the scroll by the monk. And then the second one is Neuronics, and this, in the case of monk, is seeing and remembering and knowing and interpreting prophecy and measuring the world around in a way that kind of establishes if the people that come in contact with monk are going to turn out to be good or evil or helpful to the scroll, or end up being, returning World War II soldiers trying to take over the world. So the Neuronics here, the ability to recognize the implications of the scroll and its power. The special ability of a Sacred Scribe is called Deific Dabble, and it reads, temporarily raise one trait of a creature by one level until this character's next round. So it's short and it's fast, but it essentially allows the Sacred Scribe to use their abilities in place of actions. So their actions now can be used to increase other people's abilities for that singular round. Very useful, a very similar ability to how the monk plays out the power in the movie, and how the power is, how they try to take it from him, kind of fits that same measure here. So, and we are looking at the Scout Ranger for the video, and our character that we're looking at is going to be Tarzan. So the Scout Ranger abilities include speed and toughness. Now speed here for most player characters is going to be foot speed, but speed can also be used for other kinds of travel. Brachiation, which is swinging through the trees, swimming, flying, digging. Speed will come into play for any type of movement like that. And in the case of Tarzan, he's represented pretty fast in terms of being able to keep up with some of the jungle's fastest animals. Then we have toughness, and mechanically in the game, this is like your hit points, how much of a beating you can take, and throughout all the representations of Tarzan, he is pitted against the strongest of nature and mankind. So he's fallen from great heights. He's been shot. He's boxed with large cats and gorillas and lived to tell the tale. The special ability of a Scout Ranger is locate plant, animal, or mineral, and that reads, knows the distance of the nearest existence of a plant, animal, or mineral. Cannot use this ability again until full rest. So essentially a read the land and give you a direction and a distance if you're looking for a specific plant, animal, or mineral. And in the case of Tarzan, he knows all the animals, any of the local plants and their medicinal or poisonous properties. And then that applies to the mineral as well for the player character. Video today we're checking out the Smiting Hammer, and our character, of course, would have to be Thor. He is the god of hammers, as it were, and matches up really well with the class here. So the Smiting Hammer's abilities are Divinity and Impact, that connection to the cosmic that Thor has here for his divinity. His lineage, he's got divinity there, his ability to access the Bifrost later, and all the cosmic level enemies that he faces. So he's pretty well connected to that divinity, not to mention his power coming directly from that connection for the lightning and thunder and using his hammer and all that. The next ability being Impact. This is strength, the ability to do damage, and Thor's right up there in the MCU and in other representations of Thor for his raw strength, his ability to dish out damage, and that's even separate from the extra lightning damage from the divinity there. He's toe-to-toe with Thanos and with the Hulk and some of the MCU's most physically strong beings. The special ability of the Smiting Hammer is called Sky Crater, and it reads, all creatures within 10 squares are moved away from the Smiting Hammer until they are 10 squares away. Cannot use this ability again until full rest. And this, I mean, the mass effect of a shock damage, hitting multiple enemies with the lightning, moving them around on the battlefield, hitting whole swaths of enemies up into the air. He's got that whole, plus the superhero landing in, landing from the Bifrost and the battle in Endgame where he's fighting Thanos' troops on Earth there. So today we're talking about the Spar Striker, and our character du jour is none other than Spider-Man. Spar Striker enjoys flexibility and impact, both very matching choices for our Spider-Man character. Flexibility here, you've got all of the acrobatics, all of the swinging, all of anything that would be movement related, contortion, all of that stuff that Spider-Man is quick to use. And then impact, in the case of Spider-Man, is his super strength. So not just the super strength of the actual spider bite, but also the tensile strength of his spider webs that he makes. The special ability of a Spar Striker is You Were My Second Choice, and it reads, if this character misses an attack with a weapon or single target spell, they can use the same rolls against another creature in range. Cannot use this ability again until a full rest. And the part from Spider-Man that seemed to match this would be the webbing, in that a web that misses a target can still go on to have a purpose and be used in the environment. So we're looking at the Summoner class, and our character of the day is going to be Ash from Pokemon series. Now, I didn't watch a ton of this show, but I understand for the Summoner class, Calling a Friend is the special ability. Summoning a creature that is the same level as the character from the ones available in the region. This character is an ally and will remain until the end of the battle. At the end of the battle, the summoned creature returns to where it was before the battle. Cannot use this ability again until a full rest. So the summoning part is the big reason for choosing Ash. It could have been Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! It could have been any of the card casting summoning folks from any of those shows. But the magic and strategy are the two main skills, and the magic in the card summoning genre of shows is the technology or the magic or the apparatus that summon the creatures. And so in D&D, that magic takes the form of a sort of a spell instead of a technology. And then strategy being which creature to summon, where to place them on the board, how to move around the different pieces and know the strengths and weaknesses and compare that with the enemy's strength and weakness and all of that. Today we're looking at the Trapsetter, and our pop culture character is going to be Kevin McAllister from the Home Alone series. So pretty obvious if you've seen any of the Home Alone movies that setting traps is a big part. Set trap is the namesake of the special ability as well. It reads, create a pitfall into a square on the map. The danger of the pitfall is dependent on this character's level and by GM discretion. So the obviously Kevin McAllister spends much of those movie series setting up traps. Trapsetter enjoys skill and strategy, and here the skill is the actual knowing how a doorknob will heat up, how to rig a nail gun against the door, any of those, basically all the science, the pendulum of the paint can, all of that. So that is the skill, and then the strategy here is more like the voice of the mannequin in the shower, egging them on, and then getting them to kind of navigate into each of the traps. So great combination here, skill and strategy for Kevin McAllister. We've got the winged sandal today, and our character of choice for the winged sandal is going to be Mary Poppins. And so Mary Poppins enjoys divinity and speed, divinity being a connection to greater powers or magic or that kind of cosmic space and time bending ability that she has for her different for her bag and ability to do magic there. And then you have speed, which of course the ability to move around, to fly, to dance and tap dance and learn choreography. All that's going to be built into the speed as well. The special ability for the winged sandal is going to be Flight of Might, which reads, use an action to give an ally or self a flying speed equal to your walking speed until this character's next round. And from the penguins and the chimney sweeps to the I love to laugh and the board of the bank, taking flight as it were, the ability to give others flight and involve them in movement hijinks is definitely something that is in the purview for Mary Poppins. But our last video in this series is for the Witch Doctor class, and the character we've chosen for the Witch Doctor is Ant-Man, but this will be Hank Pym's Ant-Man in the MCU, not Scott Lang's, and that has to do with the ability, which I'll get to in a minute. So divinity and skill are the abilities enjoyed by the Witch Doctor. Divinity being a connection and attachment to something cosmic, and in the case of Hank Pym and Ant-Man, that would be all things quantum. It's the source of the power of the Pym particle, and some of the bigger adventures, so to speak, that Ant-Man has are thanks to that cosmic connection. And then skill is the technical skill needed to build the machinery and do the engineering and make the suits and get the ants to do what you want. All of that is skill. So good combination there between the cosmic and the fine motor skills. The special ability of the Witch Doctor is called Bugs and Bark, and it reads, this character can turn any insect into a mount fit for the Witch Doctor. The mount lasts until the end of this creature's next round. Cannot use again until a full rest. So, literally riding ants is a thing that happened several times in the Ant-Man movies. And so the using an insect for a mount isn't that big of a stretch. So that has been a little bit about the Witch Doctor. It's the last one again in this series. Now, the next series is up in the air. We want to hear in the comments what you guys would like for us to do next. So we're looking at directions for GMs for running the game for Fists and Minds, comparisons to other systems, and pretty much any aspect of play. The classes were the first series, and so we also have the species, we have geographies, we have all kinds of stuff for the GETHERVERSE and beyond. So put in the comments what you'd like to see us do as the next series. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this one. Check out the other videos in this series if you want to learn more about the Fists and Minds classes, and we will hope to see you in the next video. Thanks, Internet.